Well, fill us in a little bit. You came down, first time CPI lean came down.
Yeah, I came down in July 22. It was like the third week of July. And I talked to you because in June, Dan and I were training. We were actually rolling. I suddenly went into tachycardia. You know, I was born with a bicuspid aortic heart valve.
What's that?
Basically, all the blood from the heart goes out to the rest of the body through that valve. And I was born with a bicuspid valve, so just two flaps instead of three. Flaps probably not the right word, but that's the one I'm using. So they did an open heart surgery on me when I was 4 years old. It was fine. Like, I had a normal childhood. Like, I had this open heart surgery, so I was still very active and grew up pretty normal. Anyway, we did some research, and it's a drug my mother was given while she was pregnant that caused heart defects, and it was pretty much likely that because she was given that during both the pregnancies with my brother and I. Out of an abundance of concern, said, "Can you go see a cardiologist? Like, I know you normally do, but just get a checkup for me." And so I went and got a checkup and CAT scan and all that sort of stuff. And they were like, "Yeah, we need to talk. You have an aneurysm." So I had a giant aneurysm in my ascending aortic artery. So the artery that comes off of the heart that then branches off to your other main arteries. And I was like, "Oh, that's not great news." So we didn't do surgery. I was in surgery like 10 days later. And they replaced my aortic valve with a mechanical St. Jude's valve, and they replaced part of my ascending aortic artery. But I also was getting some arrhythmia, which is sometimes a side effect from that type of surgery where they interfere with the valve, like by replacing it. I started noticing stuff that maybe was not so abnormal. I did a Holter monitor test for a couple times where I would wear basically a tape deck with these nodes hooked up to me for a day or two, and they would record all the stuff that happened to your heart, review it, and it's like, yeah, everything looks normal. Years down the line, 38, I have another aneurysm. So, long story short, by the time I was 38, I had 3 open heart surgeries. So I have a little bit of mechanical repair, but the heart itself is fine, works fine, But I still roll with people I don't know, and I'm out there and I've learned how to, protect myself well enough that I'm not worried about the impacts or anything like that could be dangerous. Anyway, trained with Dan, went into tachycardia. I had to be cardioverted out of that. So they had to put me to sleep and shock me back into rhythm. And after that, I was like, well, okay, that's not great. Out of the blue, like 2 weeks later, I go into atrial fibrillations where my heart rate is just abnormal. Put up with that for about 6 days until I got to see him, and he gave me a prescription for a tablet. And he's like, take that for 4 or 5 days, and it should revert you back out, and then we'll figure out what to do after that. I took one tablet. 2 hours later, I was back in rhythm. It was right after that I contacted you and was like, hey, seen anybody with any cardiovascular issues that have improved? I'll come down and let's just do IV stem cells because it's really what they are. Like, if there's anywhere that can use any healing or anything like that, I'd rather try some things and spend the time and money making myself better than just like going through some of the other routes would have been like maybe ablation. They're more disruptive. So I came down. Before that, I did an echocardiogram. And one of the more concerning things I saw was my ejection fraction on my left ventricle was in the range of 45 to 55% ejection. So the ejection fraction is basically how much blood pumps out of the left ventricle to the rest of the body. You don't want all the blood to come out of the heart, but you want more than 50% of it for sure. 12 weeks after I came down and did that, my ejection fraction was up 55 to 65%. So I had a stronger ejection fraction, some good measurements in the heart. The cardiologist was like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And I was like, well, I went down to the stem cells like I talked to you about. He said, do some more if you want to. I wanted to give it time for all those stem cells that we did last time to do whatever work they had done. And then, I've got my own scheduling issues to deal with. But my intention was to come back within 6 months. And we're right actually just inside 6 months since I was here last.
Did you do anything else? Besides stem cells?
I've got a few things that I'm doing now, but there's nothing really crazy. I'm doing some injectables of some amino acids. I'm not using any peptides or anything right now. But I've started looking into some of those things to see if there's other benefits. But it's pretty much been the stem cells for the last 6 months.
Well, awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Scotty, and then I'll check on you tomorrow. I'll see basically what all are you getting injected this?
Right shoulder, left knee, and IV. Going to get MRIs today to see what's actually going on.
Yeah. Right. And this will be the first time we do that one?
Second
time.
New injuries.
Of course. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.